he says he agrees with you in that you didn't really have a build-up to this relationship, that just one night in the car, and you don't need to acknowledge yes or no, but he says that just one night in the car that you were talking about sex and that you essentially grabbed him, got in his face, started making out, and had sex in your car in the parking lot of his apartment complex. And then he started staying with you and having sex on a weekly basis, and that he got really upset when you confessed to him that you were having sex with other students, and that you ultimately found out you were having sex with one of his friends. So he said he didn't feel special anymore. Would you like to comment on what he's saying?
That's absolutely false, 100%. I've never confessed anything. I've never done anything like that. And I would never sit around and talk about sex with you, her, a kid, anyone. I would never do anything like that. That is completely false, and it's preposterous.
Well, you did have 2 babies with a student.
Okay.
I mean, it's not as preposterous. It's not as preposterous as it sounds. I mean, you say like this is so out of character, as though you don't have 2 children with Bradman Moore.
Right.
Because you do.
But if you look at the way that those children were made, they were not made in a way that, let me go have sex with someone. It was not my fault.
You don't say there's anything you would change in your dealing with this young man prior to the birth of this first child.
Maybe I should have just sent him to the right community resources that maybe those people could help him better than I could have, and then he wouldn't have had access. But, I mean, I was trying to be kind. I was trying to help a kid who said he was in trouble.
You say that you never went to the police or your family or school officials because you're afraid of what he was going to do. But isn't it true that if you went to those people, you would also be in real jeopardy? Because if you go tell somebody, look, I've got a relationship with this student that has now turned violent and ugly, that they would have said, okay, then we're going to protect you from that, but you're in trouble for being in this relationship. Isn't it true that if you had gone up and if you'd stepped out and asked for help, that you would have been putting yourself in jeopardy, and that's the reason you didn't do it?
Well, and that's the threat he always made. That's always what he said.
But isn't that true?
Right.
So not only were you afraid of him, you were afraid of the accountability you would have if you stepped forward.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. It wasn't really about me, it was about my children.
For the children, you had problems with him, so the only person it would be about them would be you.
I can't talk about that part.
If you believe that he in fact had leverage on you,
Right.
then you had to know you were doing something wrong.